Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we unlock our last part, the planetary gear. This will give us our biggest and smallest ratios, which is that 0.43 and the 2.3. So let's just quickly recap our 9 basic ratios. It's the 0.43, the small to large giving us at 0.5, the medium to large giving us at 0.63, the small to medium at that 0.8, any one of each other for the 1 to 1, the medium to small giving us that 1.25, the large to medium giving us at 1.6, the large to small giving us that 2, and the big side of the planetary giving us the 2.3. That's our 9 basics. Because the planetary outputs in a straight line, we implement them a little bit differently. So let's go see how we can implement them on the gearboxes we've built so far. So here we can see that the original 2-speed we made with the planetary literally just stuck in between the gearbox and the axle, making both gears 2.3 times longer. So now I also added, because we unlocked the big motor, I added more power to get us better acceleration to make this comparable, because we're looking for more on all the stats. Every time we upgrade we want more of everything. That's the aim. Except power, you don't always need more power, but a good gearbox uh, can work with low power, but for now we just want to increase all the stats. So more power, more acceleration, but now the problem is because that gear is so long. Yeah, we're getting more top end, but we're also running to like what, almost 170 in first gear. That's like effectively this thing's gonna be a 1 gear car, which makes it not that good, because it's going to be even though it says 37 here, that 37 is up here, not down here. It's going to be hard to drive, because you're going to need to drive up here, but because you're going to be up here constantly, you're constantly going to be having that, which going to make this thing extremely quick, and you're only going to really tap into that on the long straights. So this isn't gonna work. Just the gearbox straight into the planetary, that's not gonna work. So let's go look at the 4-speed. Maybe that's gonna be nicer. Here we can see the 4-speed with the planetary. We added more power to get a better acceleration, because we always want to up all the numbers. But you can see that range of that 4-speed, it's now again we have that long wind in first going up to again like 160, and the big top end, it opens up all of them, but because we don't want first to open up. Both of the year we had that nice tight at the back, so I didn't mess with that. I put the planetary going into the gearbox like we did last time to get that 2.5, where we put that extra ratio between the motor and the gearbox. We put that planetary in between the motor and the gearbox. So here we can see no matter which side we put that planetary, because we multiply the ratios together from front to back in the powertrain. It doesn't matter where you put the number, it's all multiplied. Just sticking it onto a gearbox isn't going to do anything, and I bet you that is going to be the same problem in that 3-speed, and it's obviously going to be the same problem in that advanced 4-speed, so we're not even going to check that. Here we can see the same thing with the 3-speed gearbox. Super long first, so this effectively turns it into a 1-speed, sticking that planetary at the back of the gearbox. So that's not an option either. So we're gonna have to start with a new type of design if we want to use the planetaries. So let's go look at the Planetary. We get, how does the Planetary work? Let's look at that. We get one speed going in and a second speed going out. So automatically it tells us that if we tap power from in front and behind it, we're going to have two different ratios, giving us two different gears. That's compact for two gears, so why not stack them? Another one here gives us a third gear. That's gonna be small and tight, and then we can just hang a 3-shifter over the top with a small feeding into a medium, because the medium and the Planetary is the same diameter. So basically what you see here, that's how big this gearbox, 3-speed gearbox, is gonna be. Let's go build it and have a look what it does. So here's that design. Nice, clean, sleek. It looks amazing. It functions beautifully. It outputs a disaster. This third gear it's never gonna really be useful. 290 up, nah, not in races, not really, barely. First gear 140, yeah, that's too long. We basically same thing as what we had earlier. This isn't gonna work. This will work for a Mach 1 car. Can't do this, because these ratios, that's 1.25, that is 2.875, and that goes all the way up to 6.6125. That's two monster ratios. It's like that second one is what we want for top end, but who really wants to go back to 2-speed? We could and just use those two, but we're still gonna have the problem with it. Huge first. I think a 3-speed is still a nicer option. Better acceleration as well compared to this, because that 25 is not constant. It's not gonna be. You're gonna have more of it here than down here. Your acceleration is definitely gonna be slower on the low RPM than in the higher RPM. So you want to live in the higher RPM, which we want shorter gears. Like, look at Civics, they're super high revving and they live in the high RPMs constantly. That's why they're so fast. That's what we want. Here we can see if we just put the reverse Planetary in front of that stack. So basically a step down from the motor, making the motor go from, instead of a 1 input into this monster, 0.43, that smallest ratio, and it gives us this. Looks better. 55 looks good. 55 of one motor, 55 of 55, that's tasty for the, but first gear is now what, like 50, 60, second gear is now 230-ish, and top end is 316. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. And our ratios on this box now is 0.537, 1.23, and 2.84, which, nice. Let's pull the car with this and see where we're at, because this should be really nice. It's going to be thin, that weight's going to be behind the center. This should drive really nicely. And there we have it. Quick and easy, complete car. Center of mass is a little bit in front of the center of the car. 41. Here we can see the complete build compared to the old 3-speed. It looks jankier, but the old one was doing only 18. Now we're 41, which is great, because The 2 speed was 15, the original 4 speed was 27, the advanced 4 speed was 24, and the 18 from the first 3 speed, and now those 3 speeds got the 41 and even more top end. But now this thing about the top end is where we come in our second part that I forgot to mention about top end. Last time I spoke about the circumference about the wheel and the RPM going into it determining your top end, which means that, like I said, increasing the wheel and increasing the RPM will do that. Last time we increased the wheel and we got some more. Here we're increasing the motor. Each motor has its own RPM. This motor, top end one, this 1000cc, has more RPM than the others. So more RPM, more top end. Yeah, that's how we're getting some more. Probably not all of it, depending on this box, but just to let you know, there is a difference in RPM between the motors, which is going to be a difference in the top ends. That's enough for all the races. And 321, that's pretty light. And the center of mass is a little bit in front because the motor is sitting up front there. This box is long. These boxes are long. Let's test it out and see. you can see, pretty capable 3-speed using the planetaries. But we can even make this more powerful by putting a second motor up front here. So let's have a look and see what that gives us. Just literally stuck an extra motor up front, and that's way better. 68 before it was 41. That's more than 50% increase. That is amazing. But remember that center of mass is now shifting forward because of that weight. It's now getting into a proper front rear territory where you have to be careful going around corners, pushing it too hard, because now you're gonna need to get into downforce. I'll cover aero later on, but for now there's still more to learn about gearboxes. So until next time, enjoy playing around with planetaries.